So some of you might have heard me talk about processed foods and the fact that, they might not be the best for you. Processed foods are a big contributor to many diseases that people are struggling with, especially diseases requiring medication, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and so on. But not all processed food is bad. Now, the processed food that maybe we could say is the bad types are those where you really can hardly tell what the actual ingredients are by just looking at them. And what happens with these foods is that in a factory, they are really broken down to the point where beneficial ingredients such as fiber and good healthy fats are removed and then replaced by things like sugar and more kind of processed fats, I guess you can say, artificial flavors, emulsifiers, fillers, and things to make them smoother on the tongue, and so on and so forth. And a lot of these processed foods, another easy way to tell them is that when you look at the ingredient list, it's a really, really long list, sometimes 20, 30 different things, and even more. And a lot of the ingredients too are these chemical sounding names that you find so hard to pronounce, right? But like I said, processing is very broad, and it can be simply cooking, how we cook our food in the house, right? Baking, boiling, all those are types of processing. Blending, milling seeds, those are various forms of processing. Even cutting, peeling and cutting, that's also a form of processing food, right? But there are some forms of processing that really and truly are not bad, and in fact may be superior. So I'm going to talk about three forms of processing, or three types of processed foods that are good for you and may even be better than their fresh counterparts. The first one is frozen foods. Frozen foods are good for you because they maintain much or most of their nutritional content, because these foods are often frozen soon after picking. We talk about it being flash frozen at the site, like berries and beans and all these things, right? They are picked and then they quickly, washed and so on, and then frozen at the site. So when food is transported, the nutritional content wanes over time. And so obviously the longer the transportation, like if something is imported from, another country, then you can have waning of the nutritional content over time. But because these foods are frozen soon after picking, they maintain their nutritional content and can be superior. Another form of processing that is good is canning. Now, I remember a couple months ago, I made a post about, processed foods and so on and so forth, and somebody just assumed that I was talking about everything, and I guess I didn't clarify myself, but they were talking about how, talking about real food and unprocessed food is elitist because many people can only afford canned food and so on and so forth. But you all have people feeling, I guess, conscious or embarrassed about having canned food. But canned food is potentially better than fresh food, because again, these foods are canned soon after picking. And I didn't realize this, but actually, I guess I never thought of it, but actually what they do is that they put the food in the can. I guess they quickly wash them or maybe blanch them or whatever to get off the skin. Then they put it in the can, I guess can it, and then they put it in like heat, I guess maybe like boiling water, whatever, to cook it. And then obviously there's a recipe, and then it's sent off to be sold. That's canned vegetables. Fish is the same way. There are different canned meats, I'm sure, and then there's fish as well. And again, because soon after being caught, the fish is processed and put in the can. And in terms of fish, because they're actually like salmon and sardines and so on, they are put in the can with the bones. So the calcium content is even superior. Calcium content of canned fish compared to fresh fish, where the bones are too hard for us to eat, right? So definitely some superior benefits of canned foods, especially canned fish, compared to the fresh counterpart. For the canned vegetables, again, soon after picking, they're canned, so they retain that nutritional content. And then the third form of processing that I wanted to mention is freeze drying. Freeze dried foods. Now, with these foods, what they do is that the food, again, soon after picking, they are frozen, I guess, like quickly, rapid freezing. And again, I had to look this up, and then they sort of use a vacuum situation to suck out the ice crystals. So the food is frozen and then the ice crystals are sucked out. So you have this shrunken food, which maintains its color and its shape for the most part, and of course the nutritional content. And then you can sort of put that in a package, I guess, a vacuum packet or whatever, or seal it and then send it away. And when you are ready to have this freeze-dried food, all you need to do is either soak it or maybe you can boil it for a little bit, and ta-da, you have almost fresh food, more or less. Okay, they do this with vegetables, fruits, you know, like sometimes some mushrooms and so on and so forth. And again, almost equivalent, if not maybe slightly better nutritional content. So these are 3 types of processed foods that are almost as good, if not better, than their fresh counterparts. Additionally, especially frozen and canned foods, they're often way cheaper than their fresh counterparts. So you're getting more bang, right, for your buck on both counts, right? More nutrition, less money. So it's a win-win situation, right? And if not to mention too, that these foods can be stored for much longer, so you have less wastage. A lot of times we buy food and it gets thrown away. In fact, there's so much food wastage. So this is really one way to decrease wastage of food. For peas and beans, that's another one. That's a common canned food, and a lot of times people are concerned about the salt content. And what you can just do is rinse them. You can rinse them, these things, to kind of rinse away the salt, and then you can put whatever enhancements, seasonings, and so on, so that you can enhance the taste for yourself, right? Personally, I have always liked to cook my own beans. I feel like my preference, my thing with the canned beans is that to me they're too soft. I like my beans with a little more texture, right? But now that I sort of know that actually dried beans, because they could have been stored for a long time in the storeroom, they can lose some nutritional content that way as well. So I'm gonna have to rethink the whole thing about cooking the beans. Of course, cooking dried beans takes longer because they're hard, so you have to boil them for much longer. And I don't like pressure cooking either, because again, that makes it to me too mushy, too soft. So, but like I said, I might have to start thinking about canned beans, right? So those, I just wanted to give you those 3 quick little snippets, a quick tip about healthy foods that are processed, processed foods that are healthy and also very affordable. Canned foods, frozen foods, and freeze-dried foods. Let me quickly let y'all know that I am hosting the Healthy Eating 101 Masterclass on Saturday. It's the first time I'm hosting this class, and for that reason, I am offering a 50% discount for those of you who join the class first. First come, well, the early bird catches the worm. First come, first serve, you get the specials, right? And this is because I realize that a lot of people have lost, touch with their bodies, and we need to understand that eating and food guidelines, that are generally there for the average person, but all of us are individuals. We are unique, and so we are not to be expected to eat like everybody else. And furthermore, our requirements will vary from time to time, day to day, week to week, depending on what we're doing. Also depending on our stage of life, when we're a little older and maybe there might be a little less muscle mass, then our requirements are going to be different from when we're younger, more active, more muscle mass and things like that, right? But what we need to do is to get in tune with our bodies and to listen to the senses and signals that our bodies are telling us about what we need to eat. What happens is that with all the super processed foods, those interfere with our ability to listen to the signals that our bodies are giving us to let us know, oh, we need a little more salt, oh, we need some more protein, oh, we need some more water. Like everything, our body is, thrives on balance and homeostasis. But if we're taking a lot of medications and just chemicals from processed foods, then the signals can be blunted, and then we're not able to figure out intuitively what we need to eat. So this class is to get you on the road to getting your body back in tune with itself, and also for you to understand that, oh, I don't have to, eat what everybody else is eating, right? I don't have to eat 3 times a day and 3 snacks in between, right? Because I don't need that, and it's okay. I don't have to eat breakfast because I don't feel hungry in the morning, and again, that's okay. I don't have to eat, every 4 hours. And because sometimes people, when they start eating a little healthier and then they realize that they're not hungry as frequently and they start freaking out sometimes, like, oh my goodness, like, should I be eating? But what it is that their bodies are now getting their nutrients, more all in one go with better meals. And so because the body's satisfied, when the body's satisfied by the nutrients, it does not need, you do not get the signal to be hungry, right? So we want you to get more nutrients and not have to be eating over and over and over again, right? So click the link, join the masterclass on Saturday, and let's tap into our individual bodies. Thanks for watching. Share this with somebody else who you think might benefit, and I will see you again next week. Bye bye.